how are you doing today? So I'm super excited for this video because I just got the new Tarteist Pro Tarte palette, and I was like I don't know, taken away by this palette because they didn't like really have any sneak peeks before it was launched. It was just like out of nowhere, like 4 hours after like it had shown up on social media. So I thought that was really awesome. It was like just like so exciting, like, oh, there's a palette. Like there was no like waiting for it. So I did buy it right away when it launched, and I was just like hoping, praying to the Lord that it would be the Tartelette palette formula because I love my Tartelette palettes. And whenever I got this in the mail yesterday, I opened it up and it smells exactly like the Tartelette in Bloom palette. It smells like chocolate, so I like wanted to cry of happiness because I was like, okay, they smell the same, they're gonna be the same formula. So I actually did play with it today and I did this eye look. I didn't film it or anything. I just wanted to get a feel for the shadows and make sure that they're the same formula, and all the ones that I played with feel the exact same. They feel just like the Tartelette palettes, which is either a good thing or a bad thing depending, because there's a lot of people who hate the Tartelette palette formula and there's a lot of people who love it, and I'm one of the people who love it. But if you hate it, then I do not recommend this palette because the formula is kind of drier. It's not as like creamy. It's just a lot of it. It's a drier formula, but I still think that they blend beautifully and they look amazing on the eyes. And I don't know, I'm just so excited because I love the color scheme of this palette. Okay, I'll show you guys. So there is the color scheme. It's just amazing. It's so pretty. And then it is a little different because not only do you have like these 4 rows of 4 shadows, but you have like the 4 shimmer ones to kind of complement your looks, which I mean I could totally do without. I love the matte shades in like general. That's what I'm like here for. But those are pretty and nice to have. So as far as the amount of product there is in this palette, I can't remember the exact details because I did the math a couple days ago, and the like writing on the back of this palette is so small I literally can't even read it to tell you what the exact size is. But I do know that the regular Tartelettes are like $68 to $71 price per ounce. And this one I believe was in the mid 70s. It's not as great of a deal as the Tartelette ones, but it's still pretty close, and it's still a really great deal like overall in comparison to other things on the market. Another thing that I love about this palette, and I'm pretty sure that I mentioned this when I did my Tartelette in Bloom review forever ago, is that I love the names, and I just think that they're so fun, and like I just love how they're all adjectives. I don't know like what it is about it, but it's fun. And when you're like doing your makeup, you're like, ooh, I'm indie, and ooh, I'm bold, and I don't know, I just think that it's really fun. Or like you're like fierce. There's a couple names in here that aren't adjectives, which I guess like they're running out of ideas. Like the one is called No Filter, which I think is boring. Like give us more adjectives. There are more adjectives out there. But I do love the names, like the what's it called? The one gold shadow is called Ethereal, and I don't know. I'm so lame, you guys. Just in case you guys are wondering, I have the shade Classic all underneath my brow bone. I have Innocent as a transition shade, and then I have Mod in my outer like V / like into my crease. And then I have Drama just at my outermost V. And then I used Glam on my inner like little inner third of my eyelid. But I did add just a little, I have like a NYX glitter liner, and I just like put it on my finger and like dot it on, and it adds like just the tiniest amount of glitter to your eye look. So that's everything that I did. And then I basically just used all those same mattes on my lower lash line. But you guys know that shade right there, Mod, I just had to use. It's so beautiful, and that was like the one shade that like really drew me into this palette. Do you guys see my eyes right now? I feel like because of the mirror reflecting the light into them, they look like really bright and pretty. They look like doll eyes. Okay, back to my regular eyes. Okay, so since I do have the two Tartelette palettes, I just figured I would hold them up like against it so you guys can just kind of visually compare them. I'm not going to do like a whole like swatch thing or anything like that, just because that would be like forever and I suck at swatches anyways. But here's a comparison on the size. The Tarteist Pro is a lot bigger. Also, real quick, the packaging on this is stunning. This is actually all like a matte black, which I really enjoy. I mean, you can see my fingerprints on it, but who cares? I think that it looks really sleek. And then the back is just like the same shiny material. So I'm just holding the palettes down more so that the lighting isn't weird and you can actually see the shades. But there's the Tartelette Original versus the Tarteist Pro. I think that the Tartelette Original is just a lot more muted compared to the Tarteist Pro. As you guys saw, the Tartelette Original had like a silver back and this one has a gold back and this one has a gold back. But I feel like since the original has silver, like if they're gonna change it up, you know what I mean? I feel like it would have been so pretty if they did like a rose gold one on the Tarteist Pro, whatever. Okay, so here is the In Bloom palette. Again, they look just so much more muted compared to the Tarteist Pro palette. I just feel like this is a lot more fun and vibrant, and if you like looked at the Tartelette and the Tartelette In Bloom color schemes and you were like, that's kind of boring, or that's just like shades that I have over and over, then I definitely feel like this one is a lot more just, I don't know, original and fun. Also, one more thing, I feel like in the Tarte palettes, Tarte is really good at like providing different undertones or like color schemes. So I just wanted to mention that in this one, this very first row right here is all like really warm shades. And then this row right here is very like purpley cool tones. And then this row right here is kind of more like a berry purple theme. And then this last row is really super neutral, except for obviously the circular shade, which is not neutral, and it's a very fun pop of color. Alright, so I feel like I've talked forever, so let's just go ahead and do swatches. This shade is Classic. This shade is Innocent. This shade is Whimsy. This shade is Smoked. And this shade is Ethereal. This shade is Vintage. This shade is Fierce. This shade is No Filter. This shade is Vamp. And this shade is Glam. So that is the very first two rows. This shade is Chic. This shade is Profesh. This shade is Mod. This shade is Drama. This shade is Minx. This shade is Indie. This shade is Bold. This shade is Edgy. This shade is Punk. Dang, that's a pigmented black. This shade is Trendy. And that is a duochrome, as you guys can see. So that is the last two rows. So here they are all swatched together, and as you guys can see, they don't look like the most amazing shadows ever, but it truly is just because the mattes have a drier formula. And I think that a lot of times people think that if it doesn't swatch like, oh my god, like pigment and all across and smoothness and everything, that it's not a good shadow. But I don't think that's necessarily the case, because I used like a bunch of these today and they blend so beautifully, and they're just drier. Like, that's just the formula. So that's why they swatch this way, and they're not like buttery all across, beautiful, amazing pigment when you swatch them. But on the eyes, they do work really, really well, and that's what's important, is how they swatch on the eyes and not your arms. Unless, you know, you just want to walk around like this all the time. So whether I recommend this palette or not depends on if you like the Tartelette formula. If you've tried the Tartelette or the Tartelette in Bloom and you loved it, then I definitely recommend this palette. If you hated it, then I don't recommend this palette. And if you've never tried them, then I would say that you should probably wait until it comes in store at Ulta, and then you can go ahead and swatch them yourself and kind of play with them and decide. And worst comes to worst, Ulta has some type of return policy. Tarte has 30 days for you to send it back. So if you don't like it, you can return it. But overall, for me, I'm super happy with the palette. I'm so glad that I picked it up. Even though it was really annoying because I bought it the day that it came out, and legit everyone else was receiving it like days and days before me, and I was like, come on FedEx, like work with me here. Makeup addict needs her makeup. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend the Tarte shipping, but like I said, super happy with this palette. So glad I grabbed it. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you want to see some tutorials with it, then just let me know, because I'd be more than happy to do that for you guys. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Step on the land, I've got your hand, and now we're way down. Hi guys, how are you doing today? I'm super excited because I just got the new Trick or Treat palette from Suva Beauty, and it just looks like this.